So here I am working in Alan's basement. It's at his grandmother's house. She died a few years ago, and it's an old farmhouse out near Otley, and it's still full of all her possessions and photographs of her, and she's still really present in the property, even though she died. And whenever I go there, I get a real good sense of who she was and how important she was and how humorous she was, even though I never met her. I think this kind of quality of remembering our loved ones through possessions is something I want to get across in the piece. Here I'm manipulating brown paper to Alan's sounds. I love the three-dimensional qualities of brown paper and the different tones it produces from all the creases. I'm trying to give the impression of sea here, and I don't think I'm doing a particularly good job. And the idea that the objects are getting thrown around in the tide. I think certainly the circular motion of the brown paper looks like waves, but then as it hits the table it kind of goes dead for a moment and I lose that quality. It's great when I get it in time with the sound of the waves on Alan's audio. I also like the sound it makes as it moves across the table. This is something I took from my work at Sunnybank Mills. These sticks are really powerful because they're really bright against the background and really stand out. It can become many things, so here becomes some legs. And then I kind of like how they look like the grass you get in sand dunes. And I think there might be something in holding many of them at once to look like grass being moved in the wind, or here it looks a little bit more like a sea urchin or a sea creature at the bottom of the ocean. So this might be a place to start the piece with just these white sticks, like a creature exploring these objects on the bottom of the sea, on the seabed, and then back to the waves. I really like this revealing the brown paper does. Makes a really good sound. It'd be great if the brown paper could do the circles like the waves, and then when it pulls back all these objects are revealed like they weren't there before, as if they magically appear, but I don't know how I'd do that. Here we have our cock creature again. And actually on the slightly lighter base he shows up a lot more. So maybe there's something to be said that my table wouldn't be black, it would be like sandy or dusty coloured. Maybe if I have a small shelf at the back of the table where I can keep things, I'll be able to reveal them easily as if by magic. Maybe also I need a few more signifiers that it is a beach, like maybe some seashells, a sandy table with seashells. I love the height you can get with brown paper. At the next Animate Live, I'm going to give each manipulator a huge roll of brown paper and ask them to manipulate with it on a large scale away from the tabletop. So I think it would be beautiful to see 5 manipulators all with their own piece of brown paper. And here is Joyce coming to life. I think I want to explore that element of dead puppet and live puppet and bring her to life on the stage. It's really uncanny as well, that moment when she first comes to life. And she looks quite good looking around there actually, and looking at herself. There are some really annoying practical faults with her at the moment that I felt like I was struggling against this entire improvisation. Her arms keep falling off because of the angle of the magnets, and they make them very, very straight. I'm thinking that maybe I need like a audio that is very much in contrast to her, and the juxtaposition would be quite humorous. So although she's really creepy and scary looking, her audio track, the voice inside her head, is very normal and literal. So like a little old lady talking about a trip to Bridlington, or how she used to go beachcombing and what she found, and her memories about the things she found. See also the bass tips over too easily, so I need to find a weight to go in the bass, or remake it and make it circular or square rather than triangle, so it doesn't have this top heavy element. It's quite frustrating that almost every element of the puppet isn't working properly. Here is my first attempt at picking things up with the shoulder. I get better at this, it just needs slightly more time. The mouth opening and shutting ever so slightly really suggests emotion and expression, as I hoped it would, so that's good. I often forget when I'm manipulating how much we enjoy just watching puppets, and because she's such a weird one, there'll be so much of that in this piece. People will just want to see how she works. That looked great, the arm falling off there. And putting on the spoon does work really well. I just need stronger, large magnets so things stay more secure. And I do like the 3 wheels, and I wonder if with weighting I can make that one stay up a bit more. My hand looks really big on the creature. Look how it blocks the creature and her. I need to think about how I'm holding that. I'm manipulating so my hand's not coming in front. They look great as a little duo. Really odd. And the way he can sit in her nest. And I think I need rods on her arms, so again my hand isn't blocking her so much. But you see then the magnet isn't strong enough, so it just comes up at the top if I hold it at any angle other than close to her body. The more frenetic movements she does are really good as well, and that contrast between the really slow and more frenetic movement. So I'm trying to find different ways of getting her back upright there. I'm failing. So her heart just is not. I like this clock creature climbing over her. Soul playing with her corpse. And I love these two playing together, but it's a lot of hands again. I have to be really careful of keeping it front on to the audience. And then them giving animation to the dead arm is quite funny. She so desperately tries to keep herself alive by rebuilding herself and collecting all these things. But ultimately it's worthless. It's pointless. It's what's inside her that goes on, lives on, and is remembered. These creatures on the brown paper look beautiful. It creates a moon-like, spacey landscape for them. And then they go for a little fly around the room. I found this space really inspirational. It really helped me play because everything just looks right. It's old, it's dirty, it's gravelly, dusty. Oh yeah, and the clock creature can skate around on the wheel of Joyce's heart, which is really fun. It's like I had to find all these playful games these two would play, and it could create a little dog creature like this too. This is one moment where I felt that I was going to stop, but Alan had carried on with the music, was a really good moment for me because it pushed me to carry on, it pushed me to play more, and I wouldn't have done that on my own. Also changed the tone beautifully. It gave him an opportunity to really look at the sounds he had and start a new episode. I think it was here he started playing with putting dust and bits of brick and stone onto the skin of his drum, and it made a great sound of the sea, and later drumming on it gave a beautiful ephemeral animation. Also at this point I'm writing down ideas, because during the improvisation I came up with lots of ideas in my head of what the audio could be and what could be said in the audio. I think I'm going to ask an older lady to record the audio on my behalf, because I just don't think my voice will suit Joyce. It'll be forced and pretend, as I want it to be a real old lady. And later, Aled came up with the idea of playing the older women bits of music to trigger their memories in the Caring Together workshop, but also maybe then incorporating like haunting elements of these bits of music in the audio, which I think would be great. So here, the music that Aled started gave me a totally new approach, and I decided to bring an arm to life, which I really like. It's very creepy. Reattaching itself to her body. And this then triggered the idea of maybe the clock art arrives, and it's that embedding itself in her chest that brings her to life. These are ideas that just would not have happened if I hadn't had this opportunity to really play. So here I've let go of the clock creature and he instantly goes dead. So we stop believing in him. So if I want to let go of him, he needs to exit the stage. This is where this shelf idea would come in really useful. Here I'm frantically trying to get the clock into her heart and it's just not staying in, but for now a simple device like sticking some blue tack in there will do to get that to work. So like sticks in place with the blue tack. This Joyce coming to life is really, really uncanny. It's really uncomfortable. And then once she's fully alive, we kind of accept it and it becomes familiar again, and that's that uncanny effect. Which is really working. Also, if this is kind of like an installation performance, she can be left in the gallery space dead, lied down, and then when I'm there to perform, we can bring her to life. And maybe the audio will be constantly playing. She's lied there dead. To give those, like, I don't know, memories of her being alive. So here I'm playing with every time the clock heart falls out, she then it then puts itself back in, brings her back to life. I'm not sure I'd do this in the piece, but it was a good chance to play and try all the different ways of waking her up and bringing her back to life and killing her again. And actually, the head being heavy didn't bother me too much in this process. The neck is still an issue because you can see where it doesn't quite join the head, and sometimes the head is just like floating above the neck. So I need to get that tighter, and that needs to be done with holes in the head and a string going all the way through rather than just being glued on. But weight-wise, it wasn't too heavy, and I manipulated for a good hour with it here. And the ticking audio that Alad's created here goes so well with this episode. It's funny that we always thought the ticking was going to be for the clock creature, but I think actually it works really well with Joyce. When she comes up to look over things, the spring looks brilliant. I do think it needs to be dirtied and made to look older. And possibly the wheels as well. Here the spring is caught up in twigs on her base as well. This looks great, her coming over the edge of the table and looking back at herself. The table I work on needs to be wider as well. Much bigger, so I've got more room to play. So maybe the episode could be the two clock creatures arrive. One of them sends the other off towards the dead Joyce and then exits. That clock creature implants itself in Joyce. She comes to life. She moves around. As she moves around, her arms fall off. She finds different objects to replace her arms, and these trigger memories. Positive, fun, silly, frivolous memories. And then her heart falls out. She goes dead again. And the two clock creatures meet again and play some more and leave. Here I'm playing with the clock creatures, bringing her the items to replace her arms. I like how Alan's using the squeak as a indicator of the clock creature. Looks a little bit like the clock creature's attacking her. I don't want that. I want her to be friendly towards her. And now he's trying to put the heart in her. This doesn't really work, but it's good to have the chance to experiment with it. Maybe when Joyce is alive and working, the clock creature comes back and can be petted a little. I think this looks really nice, and her arms are stroking it and things. This is good watching it back because definitely like a clear order of events is becoming clearer in my head for the show back at the end of July. It's just weird. I quite like the jerky freneticness of that arm movement. I like the sound of tearing, but it looks like I'm tearing the paper rather than the paper is tearing itself. I have got this hidden shelf behind the performance table. Excessive amounts of brown paper coming out of it would be really, really magical. So if it just keeps coming from nowhere and rises up, 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 and then floats around. I'm not sure about this. That's kind of going for him skiing down, sliding down the paper. I'm not sure it works with Joyce there dead either. Too much going on, it makes no sense. Here I'm just stopping, so let's stop it there.